Hello and welcome back guys to part 2 of how to build your own quadcopter series. Now in this video we are going to see how the parts actually talk to each other and how everything works internally. So now what actually happens when you move those sticks on those box called as the transmitter? What actually goes on in the quad? What is going on over there? How is the quad able to understand you? Well, this is what we are going to answer today. So, this is a transmitter. Now, if you have ever seen anything that's remote controlled, I bet you would have seen one of these. So, this comes with this. This is called as a receiver. Usually, you would have seen this without knowing there's something even like this. If you have ever flown an RC vehicle or ever got an RC car or something, then you would have seen an antenna coming out. This is the same thing. This is this is just in a box, but inside over here there's a printed circuit board, PCB, that would be there on the car or on the plane that you're flying it on. So now, first we got to learn about this. What does this do, and what is this, and what does this do, and what is this? So first of all, you got to know that these two come in a kit. Okay, so these two are one kit. Now let's go on to the transmitter. Okay, so now in transmitter there's usually 4 channels: throttle, roll, pitch, and yaw. These are usually the 4 channels over here. So now the throttle makes the quad fly high and low. Roll makes the quad rotate. So let me just show you. So when I move the throttle stick, the motor should rotate and make the quad fly. Now when I move the roll stick, the quad should turn left or right. When I do the pitch, the quad should go forward or backward. And I do yaw, the quad should spin on its own axis. Now, why do you need to learn this? Well, because at the last step, you have to configure this to work with this. And if it's not working, and then you won't know what the problem is. So that's why you got to learn this one so that you can control everything that you do. So now the next thing is, how does this internally work? Well, it is basically like a radio, or more precisely a walkie-talkie. So what this does is, when you move these sticks, it sends a radio signal in every direction. So now the radio signal contains some amount of data, because varying the wavelength and varying the intervals, you can send some amount of data in the wavelength. Now the receiver is on the quad, and then the receiver will catch that data. So now this is throwing out data in every single direction that's there. It's throwing out data here, 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 everywhere in a 360 view. Now the receiver is at some point and is catching all the data. So transmitter is throwing data, receiver is catching that data. So that's why these 2 antennas are here. So when the receiver catches the data, it converts that into a language from which every other component can understand. PWM. So PWM stands for Pulse Width Modulation Language. So to keep it in simple words, it sends a varying output from 0 to 5 volts. So depending on the varying output and how strong the output is, the motors actually work. Now if it was a plane, then this would be connected directly to the motor, but it's not. So for every other thing and all the calculations on the quad, so what should actually happen when I do this is not said by this. This does not translate this into saying all 4 motors should spin. This does not do that. It just tells me that what have I done on the transmitter. So when I tell this would be sending out a radio signal saying that, translating into the throttle stick has moved from so position to so position, so increased. So that's all we have said. Now this would convert that into this, and at the end over here it would have been given out the degrees of this. So this will be the maximum amount of degrees on this, like this 180, no, 70 or 90 degrees. So this would be getting 90 degrees into a full output. That's all would be given, 5 volts. Now for every other calculation that goes on in the quad, you need this. This is called a control board. So the control board is not a transmitter, it does not come with a transmitter, it's not an autopilot as well. Control boards are not autopilots. Autopilot, control board, two different things. So this is, oops. So now this is the control board. So now, why do you need the control board? I just told you, because this only sends the radio signals. This converts that radio signal should what actually happen. So now when I give pitch over here, so now let's just say I've given maximum amount of pitch, so now it should move front. So when I give that pitch, the control board on the quad will tell, hey, U2 motors slow down by this much, U2 motors speed up. This is what is actually giving that command, not this. This is just telling you, hey, the pitch output is this much given by the master. That's all it's going to say. The pitch output is so and so. Now the control board is going to take that, okay, the pitch output is this. So for that pitch output, I need to move this motor by so much and this motor by so much. This is going to do all those calculations, and then when it's on this and the calculations are done, it will again send a PWM output that could be read by the ESC, and the ESC will in turn turn the motors to the required speed. So that's how the control board works. So and then the last thing is this ESC. So now, what is this ESC? ESC stands for Electronical Speed Controller. So what the ESC does is it controls the motor. Now these motors are AC, so they are alternating current. So alternating current is the same current that's all over your house, that's coming into through your wires and through your house. Direct current is the one that comes from your battery or from, batteries or motors, generators or something like that. So now these motors run on ACs, that's why they have more life and they are more faster than DC motors. So now this ESC, and now we are obviously going to put this out of a battery. We can't have a long wire coming out of our house to fly the quad. So now that's where the ESC comes in as well. The battery power is converted into AC power. Now battery power is always going to be DC battery power. So now when I hook on the battery onto this, it's going to be supplying me DC power. But the motor only runs on AC power. So what happens in this small box over here, this small chip or box or whatever you want to call it, this converts that AC power, the DC power into AC power. So it's going to come, the DC power is going to come here, it's going to get converted into AC. And it's not going to give all the output over there. So the thing is with these, that when you hook this onto the control board, the connectors onto the control board will only give you a PWM signal. That's a pulse width modulation. So that will again vary from 0 to 5 volts. Now this will read how much volts it's given. If we have given 5 volts to this, let's just say I put throttle on the max position, the receiver would be giving 5 volts to the control board. The control board will give 5 volts to all these ESCs. Now the ESCs is going to read those 5 volts and understand that, hey, 5 volts is full throttle. And then they would turn this motor in full throttle. So that's how it works. It can be any voltage, not just 5 volts. 2 volts from this, the receiver is going to get 2 volts as in the radio waveform. It's going to get the digit called 2 volts, and now that digit is now the radio signal is going to get converted into a normal analog signal, 2 volts, and that 2 volts is going to come out of here and then go into the CC3D board. Now there is a throttle on 2 volts. What should I do? The CC3D board is going to make those calculations. It's going to be the brain and going to make those calculations of the board, and it's going to give those outputs to every single ESC over here, telling them what to do. The ESCs in turn will control the motors. So that's how everything works and how everything talks together. This radio waves catched by this gives PWM signals read by this. This makes all the calculations given to this, and this controls the speed. So that's all, guys. That's all for this video. For the next video, we'll be talking about which kind of quad you want to build and how do you want to build it. And at the next, we're also going to go upon the parts of building your own quadcopter and making your actual own quadcopter. So it's not going to take much time. Stay tuned, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and thank you guys.